Here are the top 4 running backs to buy in 2025 Dynasty Fantasy Football. Let's start out with number 4, Keaton Mitchell, Baltimore Ravens. Now, go back to 2023. Remember, Keaton Mitchell was a rookie then. He had a ACL injury, missed the poor end of that season. Well, in 8 games, Mitchell had only rushed 47 times, 8.4 yards per carry. Obviously unsustainable. We saw it with Devon Etienne last year. Unsustainable. In 2023, Etienne had that crazy 7.5 as well. Well, all right. But Mitchell's explosive. He also got 9 passes for 93 yards. So small sample size, but he, as we knew, super explosive. Now you go back to that 2023 season, and when the Ravens started to use Mitchell, he was getting 8 or 9 carries exactly in 5 of his last 6 games. So it was a plus change of pace role. Decent work, and he had 2 targets exactly 4 of his last 5 games. And so last year, of course, coming back from late season ACL, we weren't expecting anything, and we didn't get anything. He was active, and we thought he might do something. Clearly wasn't a part of the team's plans. They were fine with Justice Hill. But you have to think that Keaton Mitchell will be 100% recovered this year, and that's critical. Because if you think about the Ravens offense, yes, Derrick Henry is going to run the ball a ton, but they like to use that change of pace back. And if you think about the way Henry is, Henry obviously is a wrecking ball, and the defense is going to play at that physicality and that speed of Henry. But man, if you're changing the pace instead of Justice Hill with Keaton Mitchell, you're going to see massive explosive plays. You could see those 8 or 9 carries in that scenario. That could turn out to 75, 80 yards. Defenses are not going to be ready for that speed. Now, as to how much work he gets in 2025, we'll see. But I think he has a great chance of being the change of pace. For Dynasty, look, Henry has shown no signs of slowing down. It would not surprise me if he played a couple more years. And you can't go too far out anyway. Mitchell can be a factor beyond Derrick Henry anyway. The ACL injury, we don't know if he's injury prone, Mitchell. It was one injury. It was a big one. But it doesn't mean he's doomed forever. So I would definitely try to buy low on Keaton Mitchell. Number 3, Trey Benson, Arizona Cardinals. Now, Benson was my favorite running back coming out of the 2024 class, but everybody knows me. I'm a James Conner guy. I will just go to the mat for James Conner every single time. Been one of his biggest fans and when needed apologist. Anyway, though, Benson. Jonathan Gannon is on record. And it was a sketchy comment. It wasn't really like loaded with full actionable takes. He said as long as Benson takes the necessary year 1 year to jump, then Coach Gannon believes the Arizona Cardinals have 2 starting running backs. Now, we know they just paid James Conner. And understand, James Conner is the heart and soul of that team. So Conner, in terms of being on the field, he's going to be on the field. But Benson's going to get an opportunity. Conner last year held up most of the way till the end of the season, missed a couple games very late. Benson only had 63 carries, but he goes for 291 yards, 4.6 yards per carry, 87th percentile broken tackle rate. Very good, very efficient runner, kind of what we thought he'd be. Caught 6 passes only, small number, 59 yards, but was good there. But again, change of pace role, small sample size, I get it. But we knew Benson would be a player who could perform in the NFL. Many of us were excited about him. He's a downhill runner. And we'll slot with James Conner. Conner has actually wiggle for his size, but Benson could quickly move into a spot. I even talked about the receiving. Again, it's only 6 catches, but 76 percentile yards after contact. Again, after the catch. I mean, again, it's small, but he showed, and he was given his opportunity. He did well with it. Conner is going to be 30 this year. Conner, at some point, age is going to hit him, and it's probably going to come when we're not ready for it, and it's probably going to be soon this year. Buy Benson now. Especially with Conner having gotten the contract last year. People may think Conner is going to be around a little bit longer than he probably actually will. Good buying opportunity. If you enjoy videos like this, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe to the RotoWire Fantasy Football channel on YouTube. Did you know you can get a free 2-day trial at RotoWire? You don't even need a credit card. You want to check out all the sports we have, rankings, articles. To get that trial, just go to rotowire.com/Jim. Check it out there. Look for a couple days. If you like it, join the team. If you don't, we're just glad you took a look to see what we're all about over at the RotoWire. All right, let's go to number 2. We are going to look to buy some Travis Etienne. I know you don't like me saying that, but Etienne, look, last year he was terrible. Nobody's going to argue with me on that. 150 carries, 558 yards. Tank Bigsby was getting more work. 39 catches, 254 yards. Meh, it was not a good season for Etienne. not a lot of excuses we're going to make. 3.7 yards per carry. And even the underlying numbers, 16th percentile broken tackle rate, 34th percentile after contact. Even as a receiver, we knew he was like a dynamo there. 49th percentile. So there's not much good to take away from Etienne season. I will say this, though. So we saw a lot of the work go to Tank Bigsby. Running backs often need to get in a rhythm. And Etienne didn't have that opportunity. The offensive line was bad. I get that. Bigsby did better behind that line. And that downhill runner probably was going to do better behind a bad line. Sometimes it works that way. But that said, Liam Cohen's in town. And we might oversell Liam Cohen a little bit. But what I'll say about Liam Cohen is this. What he proved last year in Tampa, he puts his players in the best position to succeed. He worked with Sean McVay before that. And McVay even did that when McVay had Odell Beckham back in 2021. Didn't make him block, he just optimized him. So Cohen took these good traits and he applied them in Tampa Bay. So you have to think when Cohen comes in, this is not a loaded roster. They got rid of Evan Ingram. They got rid of Christian Kirk. They got Brian Thomas Jr., a superstar. And they got Travis Etienne, who coming off a bad year. Now, Etienne's been productive in the past. He's had a 255 touch season, a 325 touch season. And that said, I still think Cohen is going to be able to figure out a way to get him in space, utilize and weaponize this young man. And it's a bet on the coach, and it's a bet on what he's done. Short track record, but it's a track record. And he has to find talent to work with. You can move Etienne out into the slot if you need to. You can do that. I believe he can play there. I think this is a great buy opportunity. Coming off the horrible season, the fantasy investors in Etienne and Dynasty are not going to be excited about what they saw. This is your opportunity to swoop in and take an opportunity and see if you can recapture some of that magic. And number one, yes, Breece Hall, New York Jets. Remember that rookie year. Now he tore his ACL in the 7th game, 5.8 yards per carry. He was breaking off some great runs, 11.5 yards per catch. Looked like the real deal that we believe he is. Second year, remember the 2023 season. Aaron Rodgers, that first series of the season, tears his Achilles, the disaster at quarterback for the Jets. They had nothing. The offensive line was, if it weren't for the Giants being so bad that year, the Jets would have been one of the worst lines I had seen. That said, what did Breece Hall do? They eased him back the first 4 weeks of 2023. The snap share was low. Dalvin Cook was involved. From week 5 on, in 2023, Breece Hall was a league winner. Rushes for 4.5 yards per carry, caught 76 passes for 591 yards. That was what we expected going into 2024. Well, 2024 started out nice. Hall gets 20 plus PPR points in the first 2 games. And after that, he reached it 3 more times. He was losing snaps to Braylon Allen, at some point Isaiah Davis as well. And there were 8 games when Hall didn't even play 75% of the snaps. Some games, well, less than that. There's no rational explanation as to why Breece Hall did not do well last year. The Jets had upgraded their offensive line, and it was true. It was a much, much better line than they had in 2023. And you would think that Breece Hall would have been in a great spot. It's narrative. I have to believe that Aaron Rodgers had a toxic effect on the offense. It's a narrative, and I get it if you don't buy it. Makes sense. But look, we saw 2 years where Breece Hall showed us he was a superstar. I'm buying that. I am taking the 2024 season and saying the Jets, it was a poison pill. And I'm buying back into Hall and hoping the fantasy investor in Dynasty that currently rosters him is upset from last year and think that's a trending downward move. Move in because you might have a running back 1 for the next 4 years.